Good morning, dear students. Welcome to our subject, Disciplines and Ideas in the Applied Social Sciences, second semester, quarter 4, week 5. This is Rafi Chugilar, your teacher. Today we have a new lesson, but before we proceed to our formal discussion, don't forget to visit our official website at GAITF.sims.school/LCMS. I repeat, GAITF.sims.school/LCMS. Log in your account there, visit the learning path, find or locate our subject which is DASS, click the quarter 4 learning path, download the PDF files, and answer the activities and quizzes I have uploaded there. So class, are you now ready to listen? Now let's begin. What do you think is our lesson for this morning? Okay, so class, our lesson for this morning is all about the settings, processes, methods, and tools in communication. To proceed with our discussion, what would be our objectives for this morning? So here are the following objectives. First is to identify the settings in which communicators and journalists are found. Second, illustrate the different processes and methods involved in undertaking communication. And last but not the least, distinguish the appropriate communication media channels to use in different settings and situations. So class, are you now ready? I guess everyone is now ready to listen. So let's begin. Settings of communication. The settings of communication may be defined as the physical surroundings of a communication event, which may be made up of the location where the communication occurs, environment conditions, time of the day or day of the week, as well as approximately of the communicators. That's according to Alberts, Nalkanyama, and Martin on the year 2007. What is critical regarding the settings is to know the audience and understand what they need to hear and how they need to receive information. So talking about the settings of communication, that involves the settings or the area. It's like the environment, the place, the physical surroundings, or etc. So that that involves the places, the time as well, where the communication has started. Okay, so that's the settings. It includes the physical surroundings. So it could be the places or it could be the time when and where it started or where the communication occurs. Now let's have the process of communication. So the process of communication accounts for what happens between the source of message and the recipient, the skills employed in giving and receiving information, and conveying our ideas and opinions with those around us. So that's the process. So it's about to send or to spread the message. Methods of communication. So what are the methods? So here are the methods. So the methods of communication involve verbal. So when we talk about verbal, that includes the sounds, the language, and the tone of the voice. So that is the verbal. The oral listening and hearing, that is non-verbal, facial expression, body language, and posture. Then the written, letters, memos, journals, emails or blogs, and text messages. And the visual. So what are the visual? So that includes the signs, the symbols, the illustration, and the pictures. So those are the visual. So that belongs to non-verbal. So what's the difference between verbal and non-verbal? When we talk about verbal, it is spoken or with the use of the sound, the tone of the language, and the tone of the voice. while the non-verbal, it includes the facial expression, the body language, and the posture. So it could be the written, the letters, the memos, the journals, the email blogs, and text messages, and of course the visual signs like the symbols, illustrations, and the pictures. Tools in communication. So include all that we use in both communicating with others and interpreting the information received from others. They range from language in all its forms, from the tone of voice to performing, reenacting, television, storytelling, telephone, cell phones, movie, radio, photographs, cartoon, cyberspace, digital and social platforms, and the internet. So that's all the tools in communication. So like today, so what are the tools in communication? So we have Facebook, Google, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. So those are the social media platforms that could help us or we can use in order for us to communicate with other people. So those are examples of the tools in communication. Government setting. So the government deals with the citizens and particularly deliver social and public services that ensure peaceful and orderly living. This government communicates to inform the public about national plans, public services, security situation, opportunities, and to give general direction to people as a nation. In this sense, the government setting draws on a variety of communication methods and tools depending on the subject and intent. They have highly confidential information and the information that is meant to be accessible to all members of the public. The government relied on mass media to disseminate public information and propaganda. Private sectors settings. The private sectors refers to business community, the people who are involved in the delivery of public services that include job creation and employment provision but are not government. Communication for them is largely advertisement to inform the public individuals, groups, and communication about available goods and services for sale. On the other hand, they need information from the public to understand the demand they have to supply. The private sector engages with the public. They want to remain relevant, profitable, and acceptable. Civil society settings. This sector of society sees itself as the third force. It comes to complement government and business action. It includes various groups of non-government organizations, charities, foundations, people's organization, and other pressure groups that exist to advocate the causes of social justice on behalf of the marginalized sectors, disenfranchised, minorities, and even on behalf of biodiversity. They do not exist to make profit or to serve as government, but they perform a number of functions that belong to the government. In many cases, they also engage in business to raise funds needed to respond to problems affecting the represented sector or issue. Communication in this sense is defined by the mission and action chosen in civil society. School setting. Schools are educational and social institutions. Their participation in communication is to deliver educational goods to the public and engage communities in agenda setting regarding educational goals and needs. Communication in school setting tends to be very formal and academic. The emergence of social media has transformed communication in schools to include new forms of communities, cutting across school to create communities of learners that come together to pursuit of learning beyond physical schools they belong to. And one example of that is an online class right? Online class. Of course, with the use of technology, we can be able to communicate with our students, the teacher and the students, as well as the parents. So the schools will implement the schedules of the students, the activities that will be imposing for the rest of the semester or for the rest of the year, and of course provides information like ideas, the language they've learned, and of course the lessons the teacher wanted to impart with the learners. That's their communication. That is a school setting. So there is more exchange of information and documents among students, and traditional group work has become virtual teamwork, where the students learn together and accomplish given tasks without physical coming together. So as what I've said earlier, online class is an example of a school setting in today's generation, since we are in the midst of the pandemic. And then the school can announce enrollment dates, of course, and students can enroll in their chosen schools without even physically going to the campus. This had led to the shrinking of physical campus and into global campus in education and school management. So imposing when are the schedules for the enrollment, and then the students can able to enroll online. So they do not need to go to school physically, but instead they can also apply through online with the use of the social media platform or a website that could be used for them to register or to enroll the school. Community setting. The community is where all sectors interact. The government, business, civil society, and all individuals and groups. In general, communication with communities has tended to favor one-directional pattern and mass media. Sectors of a community announce their offering to the wider community, and government agencies would also inform communities in this fashion regarding what they want the community to know. But there is also when community, individual to individual, group to group, and group to general environment communication. Various tools, methods are appropriately drawn to achieve community setting communication goals. Communication channels. In communications, a channel is the means of passing information from a sender to a recipient. Determining the most appropriate channel or medium is critical to the effectiveness of communication. Channels include oral means such as telephone calls and presentations, and written modes such as reports, memos, and email. Communication channels differ along a scale from rich to lean. Think about how you would select a steak. Some have more fat than others. They are rich and full of flavor and fatty. If, however, you are on a diet and just want the meat, you will select a lean steak. So that's how, or one way of identifying or distinguishing the channels or the medium of communication. Communication channels are the similar. So let's see. Rich channels are more interactive, provide opportunities for two-way communication. When we say two-way communication, there is the sender and then the receiver. That is two-way communication. And allow both the sender and the receiver to read the nonverbal messages. So what are the nonverbal messages? That includes the visual symbols, like the signs, symbols, pictures, etc. Postures, no? Then, the leanest channels, on the other hand, trim the fat and present information without allowing for immediate interaction, and they often convey just the facts. The main channels of communication are group belong, from richest to leanest. Richest channels, that is face-to-face meeting, in-person oral presentation, while in rich channels, that is online meeting like Zoom, diba? Video conference. And then the lean channels are the teleconference, phone call or voice messages, video, example, FaceTime. Then the leanest channels, we have the blog, report, brochure, newsletter, flyer, email, phone text, social media posts, example Twitter and Facebook. Mass media refers to the technologies used as channels for a small group of people to communicate with a larger number of people. The concept was first addressed during the progressive era of the 1920s as a response to the new opportunities for elites to reach large audiences via the mass media of the time, newspapers, radio, and film. Then the new media is characterized by its digital-first nature and its low physical cost of production and distribution. New media formats include mobile apps, video, blogs, ebooks, email, podcast, smart device apps, video games, and interactive content. New media relies on digital methods of distribution such as the internet for reach. As such, new media is far more accessible for the average individual or small organization to produce. Certainly, individuals could have indeed produced homemade newsletters, but their distribution was severely limited. In the new media landscape, an individual can have as much reach, engagement, and distribution as a Fortune or 10 company. Social media relies on one key principle that new media doesn't necessarily rely on: the network effect. And new media property, like a blog, has inherent value whether that blog has one reader or a million readers. On the other hand, a social network like Twitter would be valueless with one user, only as the number of users and contributors rise to do social networks become more valuable. Robert Mulcahy, the inventor of Ethernet, coined this term, the network effect, in which have the value of the network as a whole increases with every new mode on that network. This is the key difference between new media and social media. Social media requires the network effect, while new media does not, in order to create value. So social media from 2003 to 2013 was a subset of new media, a digital-first way to reach people. As times have changed, social media become more a form of broadcast and then paid broadcast. Today, with algorithm and advertising dominating the ways to reach consumers on social media, it's a different animal entirely. Today's Facebook looks very much like a digital ads platform first. Yes, as you can see, when you are surfing or using Facebook, you can see as much as advertisement. So every corner or every video has its advertisement. Social media today still offers the occasional chance for something small to grow big and fast without investment. But as an advertising has become dominant, social media now requires just as much, if not more, investment as traditional old media in order to reach the same scale and impact. We might not invest millions of dollars in building a TV station or a printing press, but will spend millions of dollars with a company like Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. So as you can see, the application or the software that we are using is making money. And in order for them to make money, it's for the people to use the platform. So that's it. And that's all for today, class. Thank you for having your time with me. So before we end this session, of course, don't forget to visit our official website, which is GAITF.sims.school/LCMS. And of course, don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel so that you will be updated for our latest videos on YouTube. So, subscribe our YouTube channel, Global Academy Institute Foundation Incorporated. So that's all for today, class. Thank you for having your time with me. Once again, this is Rafi G. Aguilar. Now, signing off.